AI is not a problem for several reasons. Number one, I happen to have my day job is happen to do statistical modeling, and we've been doing neural net forever.
Okay?
Neural net in finance, and always failed, but we do it forever. And also people, what do you mean by AI? There's different things. There's machine learning, there's LLM, which ChatGPT is, and we'll focus on that in a minute. And then we have robotics. Robotics, do you have a thermostat in your car? Now you put 68 degrees. If it's higher, it shuts off. So we've had that forever, for a long time. I mean, okay. So it's not like we're just, making it more advanced. But people were not afraid of thermostat, and now suddenly they think robots are going to take over the world, right? So we got other things to worry about before. But let me talk about ChatGPT. As a trader, I learned one thing, as an option trader. And I had a saying, if you have any reason to buy a stock or an option, don't buy it. Why? Because it's already in the price, okay? Now, let me explain what ChatGPT does, basically. It takes all the conversation and gives you the most likely. Maybe not that precise conversation, but the most likely one that resembles it. And the first thing I did is try to trick it, because during the day I do nothing except bicycling now, and a little bit of math in the morning, and then the rest of the time I got time to kill. So I said, let's strip ChatGPT. Okay, so you go to the obvious point, is that what does ChatGPT? It's just verbalistic. It takes words, so you can trip it by either making it say two things that are contradictory because of its verbalism, but that's complicated. So I did that, of course, and say, oh, I got a home run. So let's see why ChatGPT cannot run anything. And let me tell you why. It's a great clerk, right? It cannot run. Clerk doesn't run, it assists. Let me explain the thing. The first thing is there was at the Congress of Berlin, there's been a war between, on one part, Greece and Western powers, the other one, the Ottoman Empire. And there was a fellow called Constantine Karatheodoris, okay, who was representing one power. So I asked ChatGPT, what was the function of Constantine Karatheodoris at the Congress of Berlin, where they had to sign a peace agreement, the treaty between Greece and Western countries versus the Ottoman Empire? Of course, it thought, because his name was Greek, and he was an ethnic Greek, that he represented Greece. Who did he represent? The Ottoman Empire, Karatheodori Pasha. So you know immediately, what does it do? It doesn't know the answer, but it gives you the most likely answer, okay? And that's exactly what's going to bankrupt you, because that's already in the price. I tripped it. Another one was my village, the Battle of Amiens. My village is a Byzantine village in Lebanon. So there was a battle that happened, according to the record, a century after the Arab invasion. So there was a battle between the Byzantine army and the Maronite, some Christian sect that was pushed up the mountain. So we asked ChatGPT, what happened at the Battle of Amiens? And it told you it's between the Islamic invaders and the thing, because it's most likely. It's a battle, so when you take the corners, how are you going to make money? You're not going to make money with an existing idea. If it makes sense, you're not going to make money because it made sense. A lot of people tried, they failed, and you don't hear about it, okay? Because people don't they don't talk a lot about the failure, right? So that was the idea. If you look at ChatGPT, it cannot come up with a theory of relativity because it's not part of the discourse. It would dismiss it. You see? Right. So it is. So that's why I'm not worried about it. And you can't run anything. You're just an assistant. It's excellent if you want to write a condolences letter. It's always very complicated. I have friends who are Muslims, friends who are Jewish, friends who are Catholic, and then I have to make sure I use the right wording. You don't say ad vitam aeternam, to the eternal life, to a Jewish condolence letter. I learned from ChatGPT, so you write one. You see, let his memory be eternal. Yeah. Okay, so for example, ChatGPT is great for that because it gives you the most likely thing that people say. But if you want to progress, you don't progress by saying the obvious. You don't progress. You progress only with the corners. So this is where, yeah.
So I can't resist asking you: Is it possible then that the great, even call it black swan danger of ChatGPT,
yes,
is if what you're saying is true, that it's always sort of giving you sort of the most likely average response.
Exactly. The mediocre, the most mediocre.
So
it's the most mediocre assistant you can ever have.
Right.
So think about it. That's how it's by design, because it reflects. Yeah.
Right. But if we become more and more and more pleased to have this assistant, is the difficulty and maybe the danger that we are going to meet them halfway and ourselves become mediocre. I mean, that's the thing that kind of bothers me.
I think, okay, so we are becoming, I agree with this. This is what we're arguing about at lunch. But let me come in with one word. Have you heard of, there's Flaubert's Dictionary of Received Ideas?
Yeah.
As a parody, like what people would say, that's a received idea usually, and the crowd is wrong. So this is pretty much like the dictionary of received idea. So, but what happened, that I have a problem. I didn't know I was good in math because I can't count and subtract very well. I can't divide. So I had a 12C, luckily. And I became a trader with a 12C. I adapted. So what happened is that I'm still, my 12C calculator, which incidentally I have now on my iPhone, 12C.
Right.
So I can't compute a tip in a restaurant without it, all right? So but it frees you up to do other things. So you become more mediocre at driving. I used to get lost driving home. Now definitely without Google Maps, I get lost going around the corner, all right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a worse driver than in the past. Sailors are worse navigators than they were in the time of Columbus, when you had 3 ships that could follow one another, especially at night, all right, and communicate, all right? So they were much better sailors than today, but you free up that time and become very mediocre, all right, in things that I'm mediocre in, where I use that machine, and I'm going to be better in other things. Okay, so this is where technology can free you up to do other things. But people think that ChatGPT will replace people. I think what it will do is what I learned from my translators. You know that translators lie, all right? One of the lies is I don't use Google Translate. Never heard of it. I don't know what it is. So I know some translators used to translate 2-3 books a year. In 2000, when I had my first book translated. And now the same translators translate 7 or 8 books. How? So Google Translate is not replacing translators, but translators are using it for efficiency, for the first cut and stuff like that. Right. And then, of course, they make sure that your text doesn't look like Google Translate by changing words here and there, so this is pretty much what will happen when people say that in imaging we're going to pattern recognition will replace radiologists. It probably will have fewer radiologists, okay, because they can process maybe 100, X-rays a day versus 10, right. Okay, and this is where it's very useful.
Right. Or there are parts of the world that don't have radiologists at all, and now will. It's parts of the world. Because you have one radiologist service a lot more. So it will bring down the cost of medicine or make it more efficient. Right. But it will free up medicine to do other things. Focus on headaches, for example, or maybe curing bad humor. Right. That's to me is whatever things that are more important. I mean, very important, but completely neglected. So it frees you up. Like driving, Google Maps freed me up to compose maybe. Other things. I became worse now at composing spontaneously a condolences letter, but I know now I have a format for, what Sunni, this is the optimal format. This is for Shiite, this is for Maronite, this is for Greek Orthodox, this is for
for religious Jew, this is for secular Jew. So I have the format. So you see what so I'm worse writer for condolences letter, but probably I have more time to write aphorism on Twitter, all right? So you see there is
I'll have to remember this when I write my thank you letter to you.
Okay.
We should